Happy Sunday morning, y'all.
Thank you.
And happy first day of spring. I'm not sure there's anybody here more excited about that than me, because that means warm weather is coming and staying. Kind of done with the snow and the cold. Watch your ears for just a second. There you go. That's the worst of it right there. So yeah, my name's Michele Zehr, and I live in beautiful Nelson County. So my joke is that we're neighbors, because you all know how it is in rural areas. If you're within 10, 15, 20, 30 miles of somebody, they're your neighbor. And thanks to Ron and whoever else was responsible for inviting me back here today. I had a great time performing music on the first Sunday of Advent, and now I'm here on the first day of spring. So I kind of like this theme here. When Ron and I talked a few months ago, it was prior to Russia invading Ukraine, but we both agreed that's where it was headed. And tragically, it is. And, you know, we talked about what would be some good themes to kind of focus on today. And, you know, it's kind of a no-brainer at that point. Themes around service and sacrifice. Do I have any veterans in the house today? All right, right on. Thank you. Thank you for your service. I, too, am a veteran. I'm a former United States Marine. And so, you know, in my contemplation of these themes, as I started letting the music come to me of what I wanted to do today, I sort of realized that service shows up in a lot of different ways. We tend to think military service, but like, I think you're being of service if you are a school teacher in your community, if you're a parent who raises a good human being, you're still in service to this country. And trust me, if you're a parent, you know what sacrifice is. So today's songs are going to kind of focus on those themes, and I'll be telling a few stories and doing some whistling and some singing. And for those of you who don't know, this is an electric ukulele. No one's ever heard of these things either. A gentleman in Richmond, Virginia, made it for me. He makes these things, and the back of this thing is a piece of maple from 1969, somebody's workbench in their garage in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So I love that I've got some history here that I'm carrying with me. So I'm just going to get started today on a song I'm pretty sure you all are going to know. If you know words to these songs, please join me. More the merrier. All right. If tomorrow all the things were gone I've worked for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife, I thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the people who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the U.S.A. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, there is pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the people who died, who gave that right And I won't forget the people who died, who gave that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the U.S.A. Almost made it through without getting choked up. I almost did, but I can't get through that song without getting choked up. It's just impossible. So, I got to thinking about how we throw around words such as freedom and liberty for all and love of country and all of that. And so I spent a great deal of time kind of thinking about what does that mean for me. I think, we oftentimes don't ask ourselves the deeper questions of what that means. And I think the last line of that song is one of the ways that love of country shows up for me. And that line is, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. So I get choked up just talking about it. I love the land that we live on. You look out there at the Blue Ridge Mountains, and I have lived all over the country, y'all. This is home. This is home. So the next song that I want to sing for you is actually a song that I wrote last summer, down at the river where I hang out all the time. And it's inspired by my love of the land. So I live in Nelson County, a few miles from the Priestess Wilderness area. It's a protected wildlife area. The Appalachian Trail goes through there. Beautiful river called the Ty River. It's my little slice of heaven on earth down there. And so this song is inspired by the fact that there's a mountain that's part of this this area, and I call her the Priestess. And I see her from my kitchen window. She is a constant presence in my life. I go down to the river, she's there. Like everything that I do in my life, she is witnessing. And for those of you who may or may not have been here last time, I shared that the place that I feel most connected to spirit is when I'm in nature. So I literally think every blade of grass and every little speck of dirt and every rock is holy and sacred ground. That's how it feels to me. So I'm going to sing this song for you. It's kind of talking about a lot of the experiences that I've had down there. I lead them to the altar where we bow to the priestess and pray. And we bathe in holy water while I watch love and grief drift away. I sit with an elder and we speak of the things we've let go. And I witness how mothers love their babies with their hearts and souls. My heart turns the water red scarlet from wounds I can't heal. 'Cause I never should have shown my true nature, or how deeply I feel. The snake and the hawk and the butterfly and the trees are my kin. So I cry out, oh priestess, can anyone love the creature I am? Take this off for a second. I'm going to do a little bit of whistling for you. Yeah, so as Ron mentioned, one of the things that makes my musical performances unique is that I am a professional musical whistler, and I bet if I asked how many of you ever heard of that, I would see probably 0 hands, or close to 0 hands, and that's fine, because 2 years ago, I had never heard of it either. It was just kind of, you know how these things are, you just kind of fall into these things, and all of a sudden, it explodes into something else, and I started taking it seriously. I competed in a few international competitions, was ranked 15th in the world in 2020. And so I decided, you know what, I'm a musician, I can play almost any instrument, but I'm going to treat whistling like it's a real instrument and give it the due respect, because I'm learning not a lot of people can do this. So I got curious, what was the most popular patriotic song? Of course, I think the Star Spangled Banner is probably #1. But not to my surprise, it's the Ray Charles version of America the Beautiful. So that's what I'm going to whistle for you next. So I really do love this country, and I really do think it's so beautiful. And a few years ago, I was out in the Mojave Desert on the West Coast, and I was camping for a couple of weeks. And for 4 days and 4 nights, though, when I was out there, I was fasting, totally alone in the desert with 1 gallon of water per day, asking some big questions about life and where I was headed and who I needed to be in this life and what felt like the most authentic thing to do next. And every night, these 2 great horned owls would show up, and they'd just call back and forth to each other. And they became my friends and my teacher and my guides. And so the next song that I want to sing for you goes along with these themes of service and sacrifice, because I think the Ukrainian people are absolutely experiencing, we're like watching service, sacrifice, all of this embodied, like in action right now with those folks. And I bow down to them with the greatest respect, and my heart just breaks for what is happening over there. But I think no matter what, if you're a Ukrainian or if you're somebody sitting here right here today, one thing I know for sure is that at times in our lives we are going to hit the wall where we don't know what comes next, and it's scary, and we may not have the answers. And in those moments, which is what I really believe the Ukrainian people are having to do right now, there's really only kind of one choice, which is to surrender. Surrender to what is in reality. Because the truth of the matter is we don't really have a whole lot of control over most of what happens in this life. So this song that I wrote several years ago was inspired by those 2 owls, and also my own journey of transformation of when I hit that brick wall and realized I just needed to be still. So the name of the song is As I Surrender. Owls sang through the night and called my name. I know this path of flight and all of its pain. My soul stepped into the dark, dark night, where shadow became my bane. I no longer had anything to fight, and no one left to blame. As I surrender, I surrender. As I surrender, I surrender. Then the snake lay before my feet, saying, watch me close. It shed its skin right before my eyes and said, this is what hurts the most. It was then that I knew what I had to do, so I carefully sharpened my blade. Bare skin, hair flowing in the silvery moon, I stabbed while I still pray. As I surrender, I surrender. As I surrender, I surrender. Reborn on grass that was covered in dew, in the darkness before first light. Only this time I was no longer scared as the phoenix took her flight. As she passes the owl on her grand ascent, she whispers in its ear, thank you for your guidance, my wise old friends, for it has led me here. As I surrender, I surrender. Well, I was on that trip on the West Coast, and how many of y'all have ever flown coast to coast in a plane? All right, window aisle people, are you like me? I'm definitely a window person on a plane, and that's because I don't know, I just become sort of like in awe watching how the landscape changes from one coast to the next. So, you know, you got the Sierra Nevadas, and the Death Valley, and the desert, and the majestic Rockies, and the plains, but every single time I see those soft, rolling green mountains with these ancient blue ridge, I mean, these mountains are our elders, y'all. They used to be as tall as the Himalayas. And the reason they're only around 4,000 feet is because they're that old and ancient and wise. So there's something in me, every time I see these mountains, that my whole body just goes, oh, I'm home, I'm home. And the rest of the country's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but there's just something about this area. So I feel like there is nothing like the feeling of going home. I'll sing along if you want. Almost heaven, Forest, Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather around her. Miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky. Misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads. I hear her voice in the morning as she calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. I've been driving down the road, I get the feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Yesterday. these country roads. I love listening to Bob Denver driving around Nelson County. So for those of you who are wondering, this is a foot tambourine, by the way. It's a way I can add some extra instruments to what I do up here. Because there really is no feeling like going home, and that I'm also struck by how many Ukrainian people are talking about this is our homeland, the motherland, the land that I love, I belong to. And I'm betting we all in this room feel that same way about this country. There's just something about going home that just feels so good. So, and for my last song today, as I continued thinking about these themes of sacrifice and service and surrender, I kind of realized that it doesn't really matter what your path has been in life, whether you're a refugee in Ukraine right now or you're sitting right here with me. We all will find ourselves walking through a storm multiple times in our lives. And it can get very dark, it can get very hard, it can be very scary. Sometimes we're not sure we're going to make it through. I know I've definitely been in that place myself, in the not so distant past. So what I kind of realized is that in the end, let me make sure I got some tuning going on here. It all comes down really to one question. Maybe y'all waiting for that question. And in your darkest moment, the only question that we really, really, really need to answer is, do you have faith? Do you have faith? When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky and the sweet silver song of the lark. Walk